I ignored my destiny once. I cannot do that again. Even for you. I'm the only one who knows that. At least I'm the only one with the will to act on it.
The Mad Titan Podcast with your host, Jay Washington.
Titans go!
What's happening, y'all? It's another episode of the Mad Titan Podcast. Me, your resident supervillain, Mr. Jay Washington, and I got him with me. You see him.
Oh, we're on camera now?
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Yo, what's up, your boy? B to the C back again. How you doing?
So my goal is to now make sure we have I should have done the local recordings for this, but I'll be able to chop, I think, and make some things happen.
What do you mean?
Like stack, like if I want to do, when I want to try to cut clips for this,
Oh, okay.
I should be able to stack it. And yeah, I hope I know what I'm doing.
You good? You got it. Ball out.
We'll see. But I had to bring him back, and also we just got done doing a review for a certain movie that oh my god, we did a Venom 3 review. That's all I'm gonna say.
Greatest film of all time.
You shut your whore mouth. How have you been, man? Let the people know what's been going on with you, what you've been up to, brother.
Man, I have been up to nothing but sitting around, hanging out, watching Jay be the biggest superstar on the planet. You see my man out here killing it. I see you killing it, Jay. Don't think I ain't watching.
I first and foremost, I received that and I appreciate that. Thank you. I say it every week. Life is lifing, but I'm pushing forward. In the midst of everything, you know, I thank you, man. I do thank, you know, for the positive words and affirmations you always give me, and I talk to you a lot. And to everybody who's watching this and who listens, I appreciate the hell out of y'all.
Oh, it's so good to be back with the Mad Titan fan squad.
Yo, the fact that like when I started dropping them, because I was like, all right, let me just record them. Because I said I wanted to record them, and I was having, I'll say it with you on here too. I was doing so much other stuff that it unfortunately pulled me away from the things I needed to do for me.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, there were other things I was doing that were fun and they were cool, but this is my priority. This is me. This is what I do. This is what I'm known for. This is what I love in my heart. So I'm always going to come back to this. So to be able to do this, to be back on the channel with the reviews and everything, man, I'm super excited. But for those who are new to the podcast, what I do here is get you caught up on all the things happening in the Marvel and DC live action cinematic universes. It's barbershop talk for nerds. A lot of people are like, what does that mean? It means I'm going to say some shit. We're going to talk about some things. Just don't get in your feelings. I say it all the time when I do these reviews and reactions and whatever the case may be. Don't be in your feelings. Some people be like, oh, but it's about what I love as a child. All right, you're not a child anymore. You're a child at heart, maybe, but you're not a child.
Yeah. Listen, I ain't been on the internet for a while, so I don't really have that filter anymore. If I hurt your feelings, fuck off.
I mean, to an extent, I'm the same way,
Yeah.
but I'm like, let's eliminate getting to that point where
Look, we ain't out here insulting people or trying to hurt nobody's feelings or nothing.
right.
We just being real.
Well, I'm gonna just get into it right out the gate. So I normally kick things off with my Marvel news, but there's a lot more Marvel than it is DC, and I want to talk about this DC news. So CinemaCon went down in Vegas this past week. It is basically a precursor to. It is a big movie convention. All the theaters, the studios promoting all their big films and all their big projects they have coming up, and it is a prelude to San Diego Comic-Con, of course. At Warner Brothers, DC did an extended footage release of Superman. Now, the footage was about 4.5 minutes long, something like that. In the footage, you get more of Crypto, who you see is super. You realize the relationship of Crypto and Superman, first of all. It's almost like, man, I got this damn dog. I love him, but man, this damn dog can get on my nerves. And Crypto is just like, let's play. And because he's a super dog, in the scene, you see Superman, he got his ass beat. Like, it's rare we see Superman coughing up blood. But he calls Crypto, who comes and immediately wants to play. He like, I no, just take me home. To which we get a look at the Fortress of Solitude. The way it comes out the ground is amazing. And then, Crypto gets the door to open, comes in, the automatons are there, they're helping him out. I like that. I forgot it's taken straight from All-Star Superman, from what I was told. And then he is beat up, and the robot's like, yo, in order to heal him, he needs a high concentration of yellow sun, which, for those who are unfamiliar, the only people always keep saying Superman is powerful because he's from Krypton. No, Superman is only powerful here because of our sun. It is literally yellow sun. So what do? They bombard this mod with sun under magnifying glasses. And it's so hot, and you can hear his bones healing and everything. I bring that up to say there have been people on the internet on both sides of this argument. Some have loved the footage they've seen.
Oh my, people are bitching about this.
And some have hated the footage. It is exactly why I'm bringing it up. People have literally been like, see, this is just goofy. This isn't what Superman is supposed to be. Superman is supposed to be goofy and blah, 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 blah. Or there's people like, yo, this is fun and this is cool. This is what you want to see. Do you want to know what my opinion has been, B?
Yeah, let me hear it.
It's a James Gunn movie. What do you expect? And I don't say that in a bad way. I know when it comes to James Gunn films with comic book movies, I know the theme I'm going to get. I kind of know the tone. I know what some of the crude humor or jokes to expect. And I expect it to feel like a comic book movie. And I know when I talk about movies like Venom and Madam Web, etc., even though Madam Web is just a terrible movie overall, I talk about the campiness, but there isn't camp with James Gunn's films. They're just comic book movies that work as movies. I just don't understand what people want. I think a lot of the hate, and am I wrong? Probably not. A lot of the hate is people like, see, this is why we need to have Henry Cavill back. This is why Zack Snyder needs to be back. And I'll say this again and again and again. Let it the fuck go.
Listen. Number one, I'm not a big Superman fan. I've never been. I love Christopher Reeve's Superman. They're great movies. They're fun to watch. But I've never been one of those people that just loves Superman because it's hard to connect to Superman because
You haven't been hard to connect to Superman as a white man? I'm sorry. That was my fault. That was my bad.
Let me try that again. It is hard to cheer for Superman because, it's just all the bad stuff about us.
Stop.
No, it's too easy for him. Everything's always too easy. Green Rock hurts him. That's the biggest thing. Okay. So it's hard to really get into the OP Superman. And I've never been super excited even about getting into a James Gunn Superman movie, but whatever, I'll see it. Maybe I'll like it. I've watched the trailers. I'm like, yeah, it looks fine. This spot with Crypto sold me. I am all in 100%. What the thing that I've loved, but I've also not liked about comic book movies is we try to make it all, how would this work in the real world? How can we ground this? I don't think James Gunn's doing that. James Gunn going, no, this is a comic book world that we are in, and it's already up and running. And I love that about this. I don't have to. There's a little bit less of a suspension of disbelief when you have that. When you start it out like Man of Steel, where it's very realistic, you have to adhere to that. This, you could just have some fun and do some stupid stuff, and I'm all on board. And if anything happens to that fucking dog, I will murder James Gunn. I will John Wick the shit out of all of DC studios.
So I recorded the last podcast and I brought this up. So there have been test screenings, right? And the test screenings, as you know, now for those who are listening and watching, you might not know, you can sign up to go do focus group test screenings all around everywhere, whatever state does it. The thing is, you with these high profile movies, you will not know what you're going to see. It'll be another name for a film until you get in there. But I say that because these are regular people, right? Regular folks have seen the movie, and now they on social media like, well, everything is happening. You go, I mean, from what I've read, everything tracks as a James Gunn film. From what I read, Crypto is that dog, and he gets punched in the face. I'm just joking. Hey, that was not cool because your face was like, oh. All right, so
I just recently got it. I don't have a dog. I moved in with my brother. He has a dog, little black lab. Her name's Dakota, and she's my new best friend. I love her to death. But now I have this connection to a dog that I'm like, you hurt Crypto, I swear. That's like hurting Coda, and that's not allowed.
Look, I think the movie's gonna do well. I know
we were talking off air. I want to say this. You think it has to make $1 billion? Explain why.
And I'm gonna say, okay, I've said this, and I've said this on even on air on New Rock Stars and things like that. This movie had because the tentpole character for DC is Batman. You started with Superman before, and what did you immediately do afterwards?
Screw it.
Instead of
like adding Batman,
you went to Batman immediately.
Yes.
So coming back out the gate with a character like that again, also knowing the potential of the pushback, and I say that from the people who just won't let it go. It is. Look, I don't think they are a large contingency anymore.
They're just loud.
I think they're just loud, but you run a risk. You make a lot of you want to make social media noise, and of course, sometimes any noise is good noise. But that clatter with this movie, it has to. From all people I've talked to inside this industry, this movie has to do at minimum, like I think the Billy is probably a high exaggeration, 700 to 800 mil. It has to clear it globally.
What was the budget? What's the budget? Do you know?
I'm not sure yet. I'll double check.
Okay. So here's what I'm thinking. I don't think it needs $1 billion because when you're looking at franchises and IP like this, normally your movie does as good as your last one was received. What was the budget?
Okay, that's not okay.
Okay. So I'm thinking, as long as this movie, your last one was technically The Flash. Right? If you are perceived better than The Flash and make a decent amount of money, I think that is the first stepping stone to build on the on the DC universe, and I believe that'll start bringing back the audience. Now, I may be an optimistic. I may be just thinking, hey, people are gonna be nice and happy for once, and slowly agree and come on board. But I think Superman needs to have good reviews, good fan service, good word of mouth, and make its budget and then some, enough to be profitable. And that'll spend enough goodwill to continue building. And when Batman Brave and Bold comes out, that has to. You have to be making money now. All right.
So the rumor.
Uh-oh.
So these are the rumors of what the budget is. The rumors are that the budget is $363 million.
Okay, so yeah, you got to get close to $1 billion.
So these are rumors, and this is why I say that, because James Gunn has publicly denied it. He said the budget isn't even it ain't. He said the actual budget is not somewhere even close to that. The problem with that statement is, if you look at what this movie has, and what this movie has is a lot of CGI. That in itself will shoot a budget through the roof. If you don't put the money in and it comes out weak, you get the response we gave to The Flash. Right. But also, the one thing you got to remember with The Flash is the Flash's star was a problem.
There was a lot of circumstances with The Flash.
But I think
But I'm going to tell you this, Jay. You can see, because, and I thought this a lot. I would talk with Ellis about it. Because, y'all live out there in LA where you are constantly around all this information. I'm out here in Texas. Ain't nobody know jack shit about what Ezra Miller did. You know what I'm saying? None of the people I know and talk to on a regular basis that aren't in this sphere, they don't even know who Ezra Miller's name is. They just, the guy that played the Flash.
Right. I'm not oblivious to that. That if you're not,
but I think sometimes we in this sphere forget that part of it, and we focus on how important we see this because it is. We know so much more, but the general population doesn't know all that.
This is true. I agree with that. I think depending on the level of the person will determine if it's put out more in media, right? So I don't know. I can't, like I said, I can't say from the outside. I can only go like you're in Texas, so you can tell me what that. So I don't know, but again, I don't think this budget is 363. When he says, I wonder, and again, this is me shooting from the hip. I wonder if him saying that is because the budget may be around 250, 240, because to him saying 240, 250 isn't anywhere close to 363.
Yeah.
But 250, 240, 250, you got to make 2.5 times. So
about 800.
You need to make about 800 mil.
Okay, I can ride with you there. If we can get up to 750, 800 million, I think they're in a good spot.
Because
if the budget is 250. If it's not, then
budget for sure. There's no way. There's not a fucking way possible that budget is under 200 million. It's just not possible.
Yeah. But again, I think the movie just needs to be good.
All right. Well,
because they have their plan, and I think they're going to let James run through this first phase no matter what.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to do that Warner Brothers reactionary bullshit that we used to always do, It's like, oh, this one didn't work. Change everything.
I mean, look, there's no telling anymore when you have the dude who's in charge of it now. So I really can't say that for sure.
Sorry, I unplugged my headphones. Say it again.
I said, that could be said, but the way things go with the dude who's in charge of it now, you can't say that 100% for sure.
Yeah, because
So
he's already moving Peter Safran, right? I heard something about that.
I gotta find more about that. But let's just move on because there's a lot more to talk.
Yeah.
Let's go to Marvel shit real quick because that was all we have for DC. I'm glad we got to get through that. Haley Atwell is set to reprise her role as Peggy Carter for both Avengers films.
Ooh.
Both Doomsday.
Why wasn't she in the reveal?
So about the reveal, it was only part one.
Yeah. Part one?
Yes.
Ooh. See, because I know when they're like, there's room for more. I just figured there's going to be surprises, but that was our main cast.
That's not
like
even
I figured there's going to be others. Like I figured Tom Holland's going to be in this.
I said this, man. I wish she was with me last week when I recorded this. I said this too. I wish people would just let them do what they do and not feel like we need to know everybody in this movie. I really wish.
That's why I'm off of X and shit, man. I'm done with all this complaining about, well, you told me something, but now I'm mad that you didn't tell me what I wanted you to tell me.
Yo, I'm tired of like everybody's like, okay, is this person ever like? No, we don't. We as audiences have gotten not even say spoiled. Feeling like we need to know every single thing that's about to happen before it happens. There was a point where you saw somebody pop up in a film. It was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Now they put in the fucking trailer.
And I think the thing is that too is trailer houses are different than the studios. Mm-hmm. Now, trailer houses, for those who are unaware, these are like different side independent companies who are told, we need you to cut a trailer that's going to make the people pop for this. But don't show too much, but show this percentage, mm-hmm. if you will.
Yeah.
But also that's why I love you have somebody like the Russos, because I will always go back to that Infinity War trailer where you had them running through the jungles of Wakanda and you had a whole team running, and that scene ain't even in the movie. Where you had all them running with Hulk. And then it's not even in the movie. So when you have people like doing like that in the trailer, I'm perfectly fine with.
Oh yeah. I love the misdirects.
Yes.
I don't like when you show me Superman meeting up with Black Adam. Why did you show me? And I know different
that was because,
company, but
that was because you knew the movie was trash and you needed something big to sell it off of. And the only thing big you could sell it off of, because you weren't able to sell it off of just Dwayne Johnson being Black Adam, because we didn't give a shit anymore. You only could sell that shit off the fact of, here's Henry Cavill, goddammit. Here you go. So back to Haley Atwell. She said, quote, because this is what she was talking to. Man, my allergies and sinus has been kicking my ass. I have like a timer on my voice almost, and I realize I'm hitting it. And I got to do a show tonight in San Diego, which is going to be a thing. She was speaking on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, and she expressed frustration with her Doctor Strange 2 cameo. All right, remember, she got murdered by Wanda.
Unalived.
This is what she says, and I quote, she's like, I could do this all day, then followed by she's immediately cut in half by a Frisbee. And then the audience be like, she can't do it all day. Apparently,
say hi. Look there. Say hi.
Oh, the dog has come on the screen. Hi, Dakota.
Okay, go see Zach. Go see Zach.
So says apparently you can't go. Yeah,
okay,
egg on your face. And I'm like, oh, it doesn't really serve Peggy well. She said, I felt like I had much more to do in the What If animation series, which was, any actor will tell you to be able to go into a booth and effectively your pajamas and do an animation great is fun. And you're just focused on the voices, the instrument. This is your main sort of performative tool. And I love that in that they've been able to give her just more to do as Captain Carter, Captain Britain. So
So is she coming back as Peggy or is she coming back as Captain Cannons? I mean Carter.
We don't know. We just know she'll be back.
Okay.
Which things I'm fine with. All right. So
Bring Captain Cannons back. I'll take Haley Atwell all day.
So here's something that man, this is a discussion finally can have. So the Marvel's director, Nia DaCosta, she says that the Captain Marvel sequel that came out was not the movie she pitched or shot. So the Marvels sits at 62% on Rotten Tomatoes, no matter how you feel about that or not, only grossed $206 million.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because not even just because of the movie being how you feel about it, it was a targeted hit on that movie for it to bomb. We all know this, right? Mm-hmm. But she said, this is what she said. She was a big comic book nerd growing up, so it was a dream for her to be directing the movie. She said it didn't take long for the reality of working in the MCU to step in, explaining that she, quote unquote, stepped into a system and had to further, quote unquote, lean into the process. This is what she added, and hear me out. They had a date, and they were prepping certain things, and you just have to lean into that process hardcore. Excuse me. The way they make those films is very different to the way ideally I would make a film. So you just have to lean into the process and hope for the best. The best didn't happen this time, and you kind of have to trust in the machine. It's interesting because there was a certain point when I was like, okay, this isn't going to be the movie I pitched or even the first version of the movie that I shot. So I realized that this is now on an experience and it's a learning curve, and it makes you stronger as a filmmaker in terms of your ability to navigate. This is why I bring this up. That she is not the first director I've heard say that. Mm-hmm. A lot of directors, they feel they get into the MCU. It's dope. You in this giant universe. You're in this machine that's already moving, working, making money, everything. But the issue is this machine that's moving, working, making money, everything goes a certain way, and you got to go that way with it. It hinders directors a bit because it pulls them in. It reins them back. So, like, there's some directors that are given creative freedom. The Russos, Ryan Coogler in Black Panther 1. And I say 1 because 1 is a standalone film. Mm-hmm. Black Panther is a standalone film. It's not an MCU movie, really, until the post-credit scene. Black Panther Wakanda Forever, however, is an MCU movie. Mm-hmm. What else? The Russos are proving it. And that's really it.
See, the MCU is more like a television show than it is a series of films where you have a showrunner and director, but the directors, they're there to show a vision and put their spin on it. But at the same time, they have to adhere to the overall story. So that throws a few. You see it back with Edgar Wright and Ant-Man. Sometimes things just don't work out. We go our different way. The movie ends up changing, not being what you originally thought. And I like that, she's like, okay, I see what this is, and I worked with it within the system. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like about that. That's what I hear she's saying. She's like, look, I get it. I came in, I wanted to tell this story. It ended up being this one, but that's the machine I signed on to work with.
And I think a lot of people and you got to remember.
People understand that.
But that's the one thing you said the realest thing about the MCU. And I know a lot of people look at them like, well, what about the Disney Plus shows? We're talking about that included. The whole universe is a giant TV show.
Yeah.
And your showrunner is Kevin Feige. Mm-hmm. I know when you look at like WandaVision, Agatha All Along, Jack Schaefer is the showrunner. You look at all these other names, they have showrunners attached to them. But for the overall encompassing MCU, the showrunner is Kevin Feige. I think that this is gonna make her. I think, yeah, it's one thing. And if some people are gonna listen to this and watch this and go, well, if they're doing this and taking this away from the director, that's why this movie bombed. And again, I cannot stress enough. This was a hit on this movie.
Yeah.
Because once that shit dropped on Disney Plus, the amount of people that went on social media was like, yo, what was y'all talking about? Mm-hmm. The amount of people like, yo, this movie was good, this movie was fun, et cetera, et cetera. So I really don't like that. So move on. Channing Tatum. Remy LeBeau. You can go back again. So it was, it was announced he was part of the chairs for the Avengers Doomsday cast. However, this is what he said in the interview during Extra. I like how BC sat up. For those listening, you couldn't see it. He said, personally, all I was guaranteed was a chair. They said I have a chair. I can at least watch the movie from the chair. It was just my name. It wasn't exactly Gambit. So I work in the world of binary yeses and nos. I've only been guaranteed so far a chair to watch the movie in. So that's where I'm at. Low key, that's a good response.
That is.
Because he's right.
Yeah.
It doesn't say Gambit. Now, a lot of people there are going to be people who are going to watch this and listen to this and say, oh, well, y'all reaching. But we're talking about a movie that's coming to the conclusion of a multiversal saga.
Mm-hmm.
Which
also, not to mention, this movie's probably giving an end to the Fox X-Men.
Yeah, it absolutely is for sure.
Which Gambit was not one of.
No. Now I wouldn't be surprised they put him on that team.
Oh yeah, no. If he's in this, he's on that.
And I'm talking about the first Fox team, by the way, because I gotta hit up Alex. Ain't gonna tell me one way or another if she in it. She'll brush it off. Alexander Ship, y'all. But yeah, you haven't seen nobody from the second group name. You ain't even seen
No, you haven't. And you know what? If you would have told me before this, I thought we would have got Patrick Stewart, and instead of Ian McKellen, I thought we would have got
Michael Fassbender.
I really thought that's what my money would. I would have put money on it.
I would have said it too. I'd have been like, yo, Fassbender you're gonna have those two together, which would have been a nice pairing. But again, we still don't know.
Yeah.
We don't. But going back to the Gambit thing, who else has that but aside Gambit? Because there's always been this thing of because he was announced, and even before he was announced, Channing Tatum is Gambit. Has there ever been anybody else we could have pictured Channing Tatum to be?
I mean, not that I know of. Only because I know the history of Channing Tatum Gambit. He was supposed to be Gambit in Wolverine Origins. And conflicts with G.I. Joe 2, they had to go kill him in the opening scene. So he couldn't do it.
Yeah. Which made me, I was like, this is the reason he couldn't do it?
I was furious, man. Because that movie sucked.
I mean, Wolverine Origins. Look, Taylor Kitsch wasn't that bad.
No. I like it's not about Taylor Kitsch. No, I said that movie. So I meant G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
The Rock Takes Over is an awful movie. God awful movie. But I would have loved to see Channing Tatum with those old X-Men. Oh my! Just watching him and Hugh Jackman and Wolverine and Logan, I was like, this is the Gambit Wolverine dynamic. I love this.
You mean Deadpool and Wolverine? I was like, he said Wolverine and Logan. I was like, huh?
Oh yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine. My bad.
Hey, my man was like, really, woo! I'm gonna make a name about to make a name about myself. I was born ready. I shot out my daddy's buttery nuts. Oh my God!
You sliding the buttery nuts all up in my mama.
You sliding the buttery nuts all up in my mama. I came up to my mama and said, "What's up, Doc?"
Johnny must have loved you.
I'm sorry, and I say this without respect. Who is your dialect coach, the Minions? So here's my question about that scene, real quick. All right. So when they were shooting a lot of it, we were on strike. And before the actors went on strike, the writers went on strike. And when the writers went on strike, you could not ad lib. You could not just say Ryan couldn't do what Ryan normally does.
It had to be what was in
Well,
the
it
script.
had to be what was on the page, because there couldn't be a script supervisor to be like, he said this, I'm gonna write this down, and then when we retype the script, boom. Nah. I wonder, is that a final, when we finally got off strike and then they were able to finally finish it? Or was that something they'd already gotten done?
All right, here's what I think. If you notice, Gambit doesn't respond to anything Deadpool says. He just kind of, I bet it was all ADR after the fact. Ryan Reynolds'
I didn't think about that.
That'd be my guess.
That's a good one. I didn't think about that. All right, let's move on to another one. So, this is a character that exists in the MCU, y'all, because a lot of people forget about them. Moon Knight. So, I don't like your face when you did that. So, we might know where Moon Knight is about to appear.
Oh, are we going to actually see him again?
Here's why. Oscar Isaac has been forced to pull out of Star Wars Celebration in Japan, which leads to theories he may be getting ready to gear up to shoot for a role in the 2026 movie that's about to drop.
Okay.
So remember, the movie ended, not the movie, you saw a series. It ended with us finally meeting Jake Lockley. The one personality a lot of us was like, yes, kill everybody. Because Jake Lockley is violent. But this is what they said. This is what Star Wars Celebration announced. Because he plays Poe Dameron and things. But this is what they said. We learned that Isaac had to drop out the event, quote unquote, due to changes in its production schedule. While it's not confirmed, it led speculation to believe he's going to be busy. Oh, a little Marvel Studios project plans to start filming this Monday. Now, Moon Knight was supposed to play a key role in Avengers: The Kang Dynasty.
Okay.
Moon Knight 2, there are no longer plans for it.
Really?
But there is.
We see he's popped up in What If here and there.
Yes. Also, why did your face all of a sudden get really digital? What did you do? What did you stop watching porn?
I'm not watching anything.
Your face was all of a sudden went blurred like you was a witness protection victim. There also I love this. Like, now you just like making faces later. Y'all getting all this in the edit. I'm not editing none of this shit out. There is potential for a Midnight Suns feature still. So just so you know, and I bring that up because a lot of people have been asking about Blade.
There was something on the Blade the other day.
What?
Didn't I hear they got a new director or something? Was that bullshit? Did I not hear that?
Yeah. What did you do? You were sounding and looking so perfect.
I have no idea. I haven't done anything.
Hold on. I'm going to hit pause real quick.
It looked.
So they did get a new director for Blade. But from everything I've heard, the movie is all like, this is all formalities and shit just to make it seem like things are still happening.
Okay.
From what I've heard.
Jeez.
So yeah. Let me see what else I got. I think that is probably gonna be yeah, that's about it. That's all I got for this week. Listen. All right. So that about wraps up everything I got for this week on this episode of the Mad Titan Podcast. Thank you to BC, whose computer decided to give out at the last minute. I get it.
My computer. I think it's your computer. My shit look crystal.
I guess. Tell the people if you are on social media how they can find you, man.
Oh, I'm still technically on Twitter or X, whatever it's called, but I don't really only use my Instagram and TikTok. Y'all find me. The grind calls. Y'all know how to do it.
Okay. So you
Matter of fact, if you want to talk to me, you want to talk movies, you want to talk, join the Supervillain Patreon. Come to the Discord. That's where I want to talk. Let's talk in the Discord. Everyone's nice there.
So this is what's happening. For those who don't know, if you want to support the show, the podcast, everything, you can send the super thanks here on YouTube if you're watching it. If you're also, give me a 5-star review if you're listening on the podcast, wherever you're listening at. But Supervillain Squad on Patreon. Once you join, you get in my Discord. We talk everything. I break it down from every different channels: Marvel, DC, Indies, wrestling, etc., etc. So many things going on there. Bring back the one-on-one with the Supervillain Squad. I am trying to get my voice back. I cannot say.
I heard it right there. I'm like,
you finally heard it, Brad.
His voice going.
Which is crazy because, like I said, I gotta do. Well, it's literally been the allergies and sinuses have been killing my voice, and so it's like I gotta drive to San Diego later on, so I'm gonna grab a medicine ball from.
I wasn't even paying attention. You said San Diego earlier. Holy shit!
What do you think I said?
I don't know. You just said it, and my head, I heard Hollywood Improv. You know, I heard you're there. You know, my head, I'm not thinking. I'm like, oh, he's got a show there where he is.
Yeah. Find me on Instagram, TikTok, all the places, Mr. J Washington. Like I said, y'all already know if you want to support. Also in the Patreon. I gotta make sure I put this in there. Every Tuesday, I'm doing other nerd news. So here on Mad Titan, I talk Marvel and DC TV shows and movies. On Tuesdays, everything else. Invincible, The Boys, Last of Us, House of the Dragon, all that. Talking all that on Tuesdays. On Thursdays, I'm talking pro wrestling news. And I'm talking everything. Biggest stories in WWE, AEW, TNA, all that. It's in the Supervillain Squad. You got to join on Patreon. Also, I'm about to start uploading my pro wrestling matches to the Patreon as well. So that's where you can see those. I have to get out of here because I have no voice. This is going to be terrible. I'm going to be sucking on cough drops and halls and drinking
hot tea and lemon, bro.
Hot tea and lemon all day. I'll let y'all next time. Till then, I'm out. Bye.